here's my Cowgirl. I love her. I think she's amazing. She's got some great colors, beautiful burnt oranges, a deep green, some yellow, mustard yellow in there, which is just one of my favorite colors. So she is really beautiful, and she is what's going to go on that little hope chest out there. Can't wait to get started on her. Well, there she is, my next project. It's funny how my furniture is a she, but that's the way it goes. This one here is going to have my cowboy decal right on the front. I want to tell you a little bit about this piece. Again, I picked it up on Facebook Marketplace. Spoke to the lady, and she said she'd had it for quite some time. They had just moved here from Wisconsin, and they had moved into a smaller home, so she had to downsize on some stuff she had. She really didn't state if it was a family heirloom or not, but she did state that she spent $40 to get that lock fixed, and I'm grateful for it because it works. And let me show you the inside. Let's get it open. The inside is spectacular. Now, it doesn't have a stop on the top, like a tension bar, so I may put one of those in there, I don't know. But it has the original Ruse Sweetheart cedar chest paper in it still. Love it. And it's all cedar lined. Beautifully done. And the keys, they work. It's got a little damage on the front. I'm gonna have to make a new piece of molding here. I'll use this for a pattern and make a new piece of molding and get it right on there. The drawer, I guess that's the way they're supposed to be, kind of. It as well as cedar, dirty, and this hardware, as attractive as this plastic hardware is, I'm sure it's not the original. I don't think anybody would put anything on there like that, but it's beautiful. I can't wait to get started on it. I'm gonna put some little crystal handles on there, put my Cowgirl right here. I'm wondering, I may very well remove this so my Cowgirl is flush, and then I don't have to build this piece. But on the side, it does have this shelf piece, and I will leave this. I'll cut that off flush right there, and I'll take this off so that my Cowgirl face, my decoupage, lands just flat right on that surface. I think it'll be beautiful. You won't even be able to tell. And it's time to get the white lightning out, clean up the outside. I will not be cleaning that inside, that cedar with white lightning. I will look up online to see what's best to treat the cedar, to whether or not I can put my verbena or my lavender wax there. If I can, this one is definitely lavender wax. So anyway, here we go. Okay, there's our piece. Let's go ahead and give it a wash with some Dixie Belle White Lightning and see if we can't get it cleaned up a little bit. Now, I'm not going to put this on the inside because the inside is cedar. It's all cedar lined. And did a little research, and I was told in my research to sand the cedar, give it just a light sanding to bring out the cedar smell again and to get it refreshed. So that's what I will do. Look at that. Yuck. This one is just glued on. Doesn't seem, yeah, that one was just glued on. No staples. Yay. Nice and smooth front. Okay. Okay, I got some clear water here. And every time you use that white lightning, you need to wipe it down with clean water. to get any of the white lightning residue off. Looks like they paid $250 in 1944 on October 1st. You see it? Here's what the top looks like. There's a few little scratches there. Not too bad. And right here. Couple right here on this edge that are kind of rough. So, but the rest of the body looks really good. No big scratches anywhere. Not even on this side. It just looks good. Even this drawer. Maybe right there. I know on the corner. A few little spots that we will get. We'll hit those with the wood filler. I use the Gorilla High Performance wood filler. I like it a lot. And I like to use like a credit card. Just gives me a little bit more flexibility when I'm putting it on. Just getting it in there. Wipe that off. Get that coat on. You might take a few little light coats. I'd rather put a few light coats than one big heavy coat and have to really sand. So I'm going to go ahead and fill these spots in on the top here and on this drawer. Okay, so I have got the hope chest completely sanded down, just scuffed, cleaned. I did fill in the top scratches, so they're very flat and no indentations, so those look really nice. Done the same to the drawers over here. There is one spot down there at the very bottom that I've still got to sand. It was a little thick, so I'm waiting for it to dry. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go with the Bonding Boss Clear from Dixie Belle. I've got me a nice brush here. I'm gonna start on the top, work my way down the front and the side. I will hold off on this side until I get that bottom sanded. But I will come back over here and do this drawer, being very careful not to get any on the cedar, because I want to keep the cedar very natural. I did give it a little sand. You know, I can smell it. It smells wonderful. But I just want to keep it very clean and very natural, so I'll be careful with that. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay, here we go. Got the Dixie Belle Bonding Boss Clear. Got a paint stir stick here. It says to make sure you stir it well. It may settle to the bottom. What I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to do this in clear. Supposedly it goes on milky, so you can see where you've applied your primer and where you have it, so that'll be great. But once I get it all primed, I'm going to go ahead and move it into my studio at that point, and we'll start with the decoupaging and the coloring in there. But want to do the priming out here. Today it's only 73 degrees, which is just absolutely amazing and wonderful compared to the 3 digits that we've been having, 3-digit temperature. So yeah, I can see that this has settled and separated a little bit, so it's just best to give it a good stir. I can feel a little bit of settling on the bottom. So I'm just going to stir that in there. So we can get some good coverage. Brought my spray bottle out just in case. I don't like to spray my primer if I don't have to. Okay, what I've done is I have put the 3 coats of clear primer on there, the Bonding Boss clear primer by Dixie Belle, and then I came back and I used the buttercream and I put it just in the center there because that's where the decoupage is going to go. That's where my Cowgirl is going to go. And I'll kind of show you. She's going to go about right there. And I've taken some water and wet the edges of the paper and just pulled it apart so that I had a raw looking edge, you know, more organic than a straight edge, so that I can blend that in when it comes time. And so right now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take the chocolate right there, and that's going to be my base coat all around the bottom and the top. It's just going to be my complete base coat, and then I'm going to go ahead and distress that using some multiple colors, and I will go into that further when I get that far. Okay, you can see here with the hope chest, I've gone ahead, pulled out the drawer, painted it. I've got it painted with the chocolate and the buttercream. Buttercream is where the decoupage is going to go in the center, but I gave it a nice layer of the chocolate paint. And now I'm going to come back and put a layer of blue on here and start the plain Jane finish that I learned on her course. And again, like I said, I'll link that in the bottom, but I will record that when it is time. Okay, gonna go ahead and start my decoupage transfer thing here. My decoupage paper. Before we get started, I'll show you what I'm using. I'm using buttercream, vintage duck egg, and this yummy color, antebellum blue. It's a real fun color, and just a little bit of each, not a whole bunch. Okay, what I'm gonna do here is get started with the blend, and I'm gonna put on my darker antebellum blue color. I'm gonna start with the dark color first, and then I'm gonna move my way into my duck egg blue, and I'll put that in the center. You wanna make sure when you're doing your blends that you keep it moist, and you'll see me often spraying, and also I spray on my brushes because I like my brushes to be moist as well. Just helps the paint to flow better and move across the project a lot better. I like to move going from the outside in, giving myself a nice little circle. Then I will put my duck egg blue inside that circle, and then again from the duck egg blue I will put my fluff right in the middle, or my highlighter color. And then I'm going to start to blend these, and I use a separate paintbrush for each color. I've been dipping my paintbrushes right into my paint, but it's a good idea to put it on a separate plate so you don't contaminate. I'll just speed this up here so you can see what I'm doing. Again, keeping it very moist so that we can get it to flow together. And, you know, when I felt like I was working on that my antebellum blue, I needed a little bit more in there to mix in with my duck egg. Then what I do is I take a nice wide brush that is no paint at all on it. It's just a nice clean bristle brush, and I just start to do the blending with that. Also, you'll want to keep a towel around so that you can wipe any excess paint off of that large brush, so that you can, you know, keep using it for blending. When I feel like I need a little bit more color, I'll just pick up my designated paintbrush with the color I want on it and just start adding a little bit more. And again, misting constantly to help that paint blend a little bit better. It's just a process. It takes a little bit of time, and you just need to kind of relax and enjoy the whole process of putting on the paint. When you're once you get all the paint that you want on and you're using your blending brush, use a light hand with that so that you're not moving the paint too much, but that you're just blending it. I will tell you, with this blend, I'm not too finicky, or not being too finicky, I should say, because I'm going to distress this blend. I'm going to wipe back some of that paint so that you can see the chocolate underneath. So I wanted this to be a little bit more organic and not so smooth, because I wanted it to give that distressed look. So I'll just go ahead and work through the blend, and then you'll see me, I'm going to pull back some of that paint with a wet towel. And that was kind of like the Plain Jane inspiration that I got from her course. It's an online course, and again, I'll link that information below. But so this blend is being done, like I say, with the idea of distressing it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to distress. And this is the way that Plain Jane does it. She takes a nice soft rag and she comes in and she removes I really liked how the distress turned out on this. Now I'm going to get ready to tea dye. And tea dyeing on chalk paint is really nice to give it a antique look, and again a little bit more distressed look. The chalk paint is so porous, it just sucks up the tea and gives a nice patina to the project. So I went ahead and finished that with the tea dye. Okay, what you'll see me doing here is I'm setting up my Harlequin stencil, and I've sprayed the back of the stencil with some tacky spray glue so it'll stick right to my project, and that way I don't worry about it falling off, and it makes it easier to line it up. And when I'm doing this stenciling, I'm not putting it on there really dark. I'm kind of fading the stencil in and out so that I get a little bit of patchy spots, some darker than others. I'm going to go ahead and finish and stencil all the way around the sides of this project. Okay, what I decided is I went ahead and stenciled the top, and I put on some sunflower transfers. And I do apologize, I was unable to film the transfer portion. My camera, or I should say my phone, died, and I thought it was filming. And I do apologize, that whole time I was transferring. But the transfers are so easy. You know, on this particular one with the sunflowers, I just cut them out while they were on the paper still and placed them where I thought I wanted them. Got a nice little design and just started rubbing those transfers on. And this is what she looks like all done. This was such a fun project. I really enjoyed this one. I think that my Cowgirl turned out beautiful. It's been so much fun sharing this project with you from start to finish, and I look forward to sharing more projects in the future. Now get out there and paint something fun.